Hey guys, here's a quick recap of some of the winning trades today. Most of these were talked about in the webinars, but we'll just have a quick review. I'll do this when I can, when I have free time in the evening, and we'll do it as much as possible. Can't always get to it, but we'll cover these today. These aren't necessarily in order. There was a gold trade earlier. I'll show that in a second, but this was a NASDAQ trade basically right after I got off the Bookmap webinar. This was an IZZY trade. Inflection zone trade, important area. There was a stop run up here. Market moved back into this area. That's the stop run here. This is an aggressive trade into the IZZY zone. So that was there. Took that trade when it broke from there. My internet actually went down here for 20 minutes. It was a pleasant surprise to see it actually down here. Of course, once it came back up, the market was ripping in my face. But internet went down, and then as it came up, I was keeping tabs with the room to make sure there were no volume setups. But this came in, this stop run here, and I trailed my stop. It was above here, as you guys know, and then I moved it to that. And actually, I was still supposed to stop out at 82, I believe, or 78. And we've been talking about this a lot lately. This price change algo here. So you can avoid like stopping out to the tick. That these markets, when they get an algoville, when not a ton is going on, you get these spikes, and these markets react to these price changes, right? So this came up here, and I was watching it for once, and I pulled the stop order, and gave it a chance because I didn't want to stop out right when it was spiking the price change algo, and it did pull back, and I ended up getting out when it spiked the other way. Save myself about 20 points on this, and then I'm moving lower. So, like I talked about in the PM webinar, you could actually say I'm going to put it back in, and then if it comes back, then I'll stop out. I elected just to get out when I did the opposing price change spike. So I saved myself 20 points, and that's the way I trade these. If these volume events violate to the upside, opposing volume events, I get out. So got out of that one. And then it moved much lower, of course, but I was okay with it. It was a decent trade. It was like a 50-point trade. And then earlier in the day, I covered this in the Bookmap webinar too. And this was a gold short, same trading strategy, IZZY. You had stop runs right after the number today into this zone at the time. This first move up here was basically right in here, I believe, somewhere right there. And I took that move into that zone. This sat in this thing all day long, and finally did break. Here's where my internet went out, and I actually got out of some here, or the majority here. There were other places I got out. I just can't remember where I pieced out of it. Not all of them, but I pieced out of some on the way down here. Get this out of there and see if I can remember some of these areas. Yeah, I think I got out of a couple here at the point of control at the time. So I'm very consistent with where I exit some of these trades, or all my trades, right? Where important areas I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. I believe that was at, again, it's just off the top of my head, but it was right around daily value area. It was confluent with that point of control. And then I ended up getting out of the rest, not the rest, but another quarter down here at the so this is actually a market profile composite. So I merged today in here at the time, and I saw this was the bottom, and that was this here. So and then there was a price change algo there too, so I saw that the spike, and I got out of another quarter. I just had a quarter left, and I got out at the close. But you can see here this price change algo. Again, I talk about this on the webinar too, PM webinar. So if you want a more in-depth analysis, and I actually remember a little more at that point. That was right here, and you can see the spike here, and I got out, and then I got out of the rest at the close. So that was a decent trade. Best trade of the day was Crude. So this is a good example of, we talk about thesis all the time and trading bigger in the direction of your thesis. We've been talking about this for days, and finally was able to fire another, went over this in the Bookmap webinar. This thing would look like it was breaking out early on, and which it was, but it failed at first, right? Talk about this whopper, and then that, and then that, and then that, and it was breaking out, and I never got long at the time because these setups weren't showing me long. This was a Dumb and Dumber that proved short, that probably blew out a lot of longs that just jumped in that are just staring at bar charts, right? And then it came up here later in the day. Wasn't this one, because this one violated the downside, so there was nothing to do on this one. But then on this setup here, at the time, this was an ATR, and then you got the retest right there to the exact tick. So this was the bark in the lick trade. ATR retest confirmed, took that long, stop was below there. And I traded this one double size because it was in line with my thesis. This is all in the room, put this in the chat in the room at the time. Then I came up here and it was struggling to get through this market profile composite with price change algo firing off the other way. Right, so I got up in this area and I kept seeing this price change algo there and then there. So I got out of the majority of that. I only had a couple left. I think I had 20 on. I only had 2 at the close. But this was this area here. That was right there. These are areas that I'm consistently getting out at. Not all of them, but I got a majority up there with the price change algo. And then, it was towards the end of the day too, so I didn't want to really hold it, and that was actually an awesome exit. I came back 40, 50 ticks. And then finally the ES trade. This was on the PM webinar. This was a perfect slug. A slug and an Izzy. So you can see here. So a slug is a stop run, sell stops into the major Ludwig level, which was right here. I mean, just perfect, as these things usually are. They're ridiculous. Support. Got the stop run there. Sorry, I don't know why that switched colors there. That's an aggressive trade, and then there was actually an Izzy here too that I ended up taking after a retest failure. So this Izzy, I was conservative with the entry. That was this zone, because it was breaking down out of this, this is kind of convoluted balance area. I mean, you can make this one big balance, but just from today alone, it was breaking down out of that balance, and I don't stand in front of those in the Izzies. I wait. I'll still take the Izzy long, but I need to see ATR retest confirm. And that's exactly what happened. So this trade I had on slug in Izzy. I did not take barks or licks at on this trade because the algo guy wasn't in my favor, the exponential moving average that I used for my filter, but I took the slug aggressively. I think it was at 05.75, and then you had a retest confirm, and then I put on the Izzy and ripped up here into the close. We actually added to this. Watch the PM webinar. We added to this on the volume and balance market pulse. There were some nice spikes here, so I traded this one. I added just a piece. So this is where you can add your trade, just a piece, and then just add on to the original core position. And actually, I got out when that failed, and then this came in heavy sellers. The heavy sellers last hour, and the same pattern. And I actually wanted to get back in here, and I was sidetracked, and then it ripped, and then I saw this, and then I did add on that retest, and then you got all these up into the close. And this wasn't. I'm trying to remember the area, but this was right into the close, so I got it out up here, but this was an area too. I'm just trying to remember now what that was. It was the top of this market profile composite. So, and it was the end of the day, so I just got out of all of them. So, very good trading day. When things are moving around, this stuff is golden, right? It's golden no matter what, but it's a lot more challenging on days it's dead. But we're learning more about this price change algo, and when it is dead, you can take advantage of that. I'm not going to go over that in this video, but a lot of good stuff coming down the pipes here. But those are the winning trades for today.